crafty friends, it's Sharon Luska here from My Crafty Greetings, and we are here today on the hop for Maria Nyce, my good friend. She is rapidly growing her channel. We were going to celebrate 100, but heck, she's almost at 200 subscribers right now. She asked us to bring out our crafting or our card making superpowers, and mine most definitely is flowers. And I've really been looking at my gigantic stash of pattern paper lately, thinking we're all probably in the same boat buying up all this paper, and it's time to do something with it. So I wanted to show you how you can combine a bunch of really funky looking papers to make some very cool flowers with very few punches and a few of your dies. These are all pretty basic flower shapes, you know, daisies. I think we all have something daisy if we like flowers that we can punch or die cut. And this is a cute little idea, is to take the tip of the daisy and fold it and tuck it into place so it gives it a little bit of a fun fold style of flower look. You can use that as a very cool and unique flower just on its own, or you can use it as a flower center like I'm going to do here. And one of the other things that you can do with your flowers is to go ahead and die cut them, which gives them a totally different look. You can either use that die cut flower as a flower on its own, or you can use it as an element to step up the flower that you already have. But basically, how you combine all these and what you get out of them will make all the difference in the world. I was trying to see how it would look like with an eyeball that I had on my desk, and I thought, you know what, maybe it'll make one of those folk artsy chickens. I'm gonna have to try that and put it on a card for later, maybe a hey, how's it going chick kind of card. Anyways, one of the other things that I really like to do too with my flowers is to dimensionalize them. I think it really makes a huge amount of difference when you dimensionalize your flowers. You can get these Sculpey tools here at your big box craft stores, or the other thing that you can get is cake decorating tools. Cheap and easy, you can get them at Home Goods a lot of the times. I would imagine that they also have them in the cake decorating section at Walmart, but that makes a huge difference. And sometimes you can just even bend and fluff the petals by hand. So now here's another cute little technique if you want to make a different shaped kind of flower center, or you can go ahead and use it also as a flower on its own. I'm using it as a center here, and the nice thing is that when you tuck that, it does really puff them up. So here's a standalone flower, just using a funky Doris die. And now I'm going to use Doris die to cut it smaller as a center. And I got ambitious and took the little teeny tiny daisy punch from Marvy. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and make that into one of those funky fold flowers. And yeah, my hands don't work quite as good as they used to. And after I ripped off a couple of petals, I decided that I had one done, I'll give it a break. So you saw there just briefly that I had a flower that was completely flat on the page here. And what I'm showing you is just by bending the petals and, you know, kind of you fold them in half, or you just kind of bend them up, even taking the flower itself and bending it, you can see how much of a difference it makes on my card now. I also took a little bit of ribbon, ran it down the center of my card, and made some, I guess, mock leaves out of some ribbon that was folded around. Now here's another technique too when you're combining together two really funky patterned florals, is you can use a piece of vellum. I put the vellum in as one of the stackers for the leaf sets for the flowers, and you'll see immediately, just like when you're doing your backgrounds, it will make an enormous difference when you're combining these. Now in the beginning I showed a flip through of both paper pads. They were by Nicole. I know that's from AC Moore, that's already closed. But the point being is sometimes if you're out buying paper, same companies will frequently use same color collections repetitively when they're doing paper pads. And frequently you'll find that those are going to match. So take a look through all of your paper pads. You'll probably be shocked at what would work. And you can throw so many different styles of papers together to get tons of different looks when you're making these funky stacked, I guess they're kind of folk artsy flowers. That's a little hard to say. As Catherine Kelly would say that 16 times fast. Anyways, On this particular one, I'm doing a side fold, and what you want to do is you want to make sure that you get a little bit of ATG glue in there. And as I'm going along and retucking all of these petals, I'm making sure that they're stuck down to that ATG glue. You could probably just use this as a really cute little pinwheel, and who'd have thought that a flower could make something funky like that? Now, if you carefully stack and do a little bit of arranging like I'm doing here, you'll see it makes quite a funky looking flower. And that's just taking your basic punch and folding it. The other thing I have here is some sequins. They're some bigger sequins that are of stars, and who knew you could sculpt those? Also, if you ever put a little bit too much glue, I usually use my old paint brushes that have gone hard and use that to scoop them out, and then I just use that glue to dab it back in and make this center here. Now, I was working on the backgrounds, and I had gotten some of this Ranger texture paste. It was all dried up in the can. I was just sitting there scratching my head going, what am I going to do now? So I rehydrated that by mashing it together with some water, and I squirt a little bit of water in it to keep it in better condition, and it actually did work. So, and one of the other things too that I used there, you probably saw I stamped happy birthday on the stem of the flower. I'm also using a different paper pad here so that you can see that it's possible to make great flowers even if you don't have the same pad that I have. I'm also taking a paper shaper's punch here, and I'm lining it up with the petals so that it's parallel and centered, and I've got that all nipped off to make a funky looking extra petal piece. I'm going to dimensionalize that, and of course, you know, there's two ways you can dimensionalize your flowers. You can pop the petals back so they're rounded out, or you can cup them. And I'm taking another one of those little funkily made centers for the middle here. This is a punch, I think it's a laser cut pad from Recollections, and I'm just taking one of the pages here and I'm ripping off all the extra pieces because this is going to be for kind of a rustic looking card, and there's my finished card there. I don't know if you noticed the hello, I made it glossy and splotchy like the button so that it matched. And then here is another idea you can do is this is a banner, triple banner punch from Stampin' Up, but there's also banner punches from other companies out there as well. If you take the flowers and you can slide them in there, and the easiest way was to flip them back, but you can slide them in there and line them up, and once you get through punching them, you can see it's a totally different shaped flower. And I'm just holding my finger behind it and then pinching the top of it so that it gives it a really funky shape, and then cupping it so it goes in the middle with a nice little gold button. And there's a card that I did for that. That's also some velvet that I rescued from a secondhand store, velvet ribbon. So here's some really wild pattern papers, and I've taken a pinking kind of style die here to cut the roundness of the petals off. I'm going to cut these, and I've got my two little daisy flowers that I'm going to be putting in the center. You can see that as you rearrange them, it gives a totally different look. I also took this big huge pattern paper and cut it down to a little less than 5 by 7 and plunked my flower over top of the other flower, instant arrangement. Don't forget, this is a hop. The next person will be found in my drop down box. Hop along. Like, subscribe, comment, thumbs up. Thanks for joining me, and don't forget to give my friend Maria Nyce lots of love. She's awesome, and she really is so super nice. Bye!